Halito family, peace and love. This is Chief Kalinago with another video. I know it's a little late, but I'm thinking why not, give the family a late night snack. Once again, yes, I'm still working hard on behalf of we the people, but I know that knowledge is power. At least that's what they say. But I think I would like to expound on that just a little bit more. Yes, knowledge is power. I totally agree. But I think it wouldn't be wrong for me to take it a little further and say that applying that knowledge is true power. Because we can get all the knowledge in the world and just hold on to it. Don't do anything with it. Even if we don't apply it, at least we could share it with others. Even that in itself is more power than just getting the knowledge and doing nothing with it. So the true power comes from acquiring the knowledge, applying the knowledge. And of course, sharing the knowledge is also a form of applying. Because now the person who received the knowledge from you may be the one to apply that knowledge. So in essence, that energy called knowledge is still flowing. You feel me? Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about life and death. It is said that the power of life and death is in the tongue. So in other words, your tongue has power. Your tongue has power that you may not be aware of. The power of life and death is in the tongue. I want you to really focus on that tonight. Feel what it means. Not just hear me, but I want you to feel what it means. So moving forward, every time you open up your mouth and you speak, you are either speaking life or death. And that is a fact. So we have to be very mindful first of our thoughts. Then we will be able to control what comes out of our mouths. Because you see, if we cannot think before we speak, the words may just come out. And when it comes out, it's already gone. It will manifest. It will give life or it will give death. And that is a fact. There is a saying that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can't do me no harm. Family, that is a lie. We are living in a society that has taught us everything opposite to what the truth is. Everything is a lie. And when you wake up to that knowledge, it could be very scary. Sometimes it even makes people go what they call crazy. Living your entire life believing one thing. Your entire existence, your salvation is based on one thing. And you come to find out that it's a lie. Man, those are some dangerous truths to wake up to. But I'm here to tell you that you should take it with stride. Okay? Take your time with it. Take your time to analyze things. Take your time to digest things. But going back on topic, they say that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words cannot do me no harm. Man, this is so far from the truth. Honestly, I would rather you beat me with a stick than tell me some words that are hurtful, because that's where the real damage is. And people don't realize when we say things to other people, our spouses, our friends, our acquaintances, our children, our relatives, our schoolmates, our workmates, even our enemies, we are bringing life or death to their circumstances. That's how powerful words are. So, in essence, think before you speak. They say think before you act. Well, I say think before you speak. Because the thought comes first. Then after you think, sometimes you speak it. And then the action follows. I'm going to show you how significant and important words are. Because they said that in the beginning was the Word. Okay? In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. And the Word became God. So if in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became God, then that means God is the Word and the Word is God. So therefore, every time you open up your mouth, you are literally speaking or evoking God. Because if you go look at the etymology of the word God, it means to evoke, to pour some form of libation. That's what our ancestors used to do. And the colonizers came and they saw those rituals and practices. They called it pagan. And they came up with a word that harnesses the energy of what our ancestors used to do and call it God. But for those who are seeking truth, go look at the etymology of the word God. Yes, they took it to mean that it's a Christian deity, the Christian name or title, or how their God is, their deity is acknowledged. But look at the true etymology of the word. It means to evoke. Okay? A form of pouring libations. So therefore, when you speak God. You are evoking something. You are evoking energies. So every time you open up your mouth and you speak, here comes God. And what did they say? There is power of life and death in your tongue. Now, what comes out of your mouth? Words. So if the word is God, therefore there is power of life and death in God. And you are responsible. Okay? Pay attention to this. You are responsible for what manifestation of that God that comes from your mouth. Are you going to evoke a God that gives life, or are you going to evoke a God that gives death? You see, too many times people go around saying, you know, I want to save the world. But yet still, they speak ill, they speak evil. But how can you want to be able to save the world, but yet still you don't care about the world? You see, that's a contradiction. That's a contradiction. My experience in life has taught me this. Whatever you put out in the universe, Chief Kalinago, you will get. So be careful of even your thoughts that you speak. Because thoughts, they, even if they are not spoken physically, they are spoken intangibly. In other words, in a fashion that can be touched or seen. That energy through the spiritual realm, the mind. So we are always speaking, even if your mouth isn't opening physically. And I could prove it to you right now. Here's an experiment. I'm going to ask you a question. And I would like for you to say the answer, but don't open up your mouth and say it. I want you to say it in your mind. So here's the question. What is the color of snow? And I would like you to say it out as loud as you can without opening your mouth. Let's do this again. What color is snow? Now, for those who know what snow is, who have seen snow, who have experienced snow, I am certainly sure your answer was white. Now, the exercise was for you to say what the color of snow was without opening up your mouth. But I'm certainly sure when you said it in your mind. You heard yourself say it, but yet still your mouth didn't open for you to say it. So my question is, who spoke those words? Who spoke out the color of snow in your mind? Wasn't it your thought? So therefore your thoughts speak. Your thoughts can be heard because you hear your own thoughts. So when you think that your thoughts are not significant, in other words, you may be thinking ill of a brother, a sister, a mother, a cousin, a friend, an acquaintance, even an enemy, and you are putting out thoughts of destruction, chaos, gossip, low vibrational thoughts, you are manifesting death. You are evoking God, a God that brings death. So a man or a woman thinketh in his heart, so is he. So that means your heart have thoughts. Your heart could think because your mind is connected to your heart. It is literally the same thing. So family, be very mindful of your thoughts. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, in life there is duality. So we cannot prevent negativity from existing because it has to exist. The only way for you to know if something is good, you must have something to compare it to, unless you're just going to go with other people's, word. If you tell me this stove is hot, yes, I could believe you. But if I want to experience it myself to know that it is true, then I would have to go touch it and get burnt myself. The point I'm trying to make is this. We should be very mindful, okay, of the things we say. Now, going back to negativity. Negativity exists, period. The key is not to prevent negativity. No, that's not the key, because it is part of existence. It is part of the duality. It is part of it. It's necessary. It has to be a part of it to create the whole. So the key is not to prevent negativity. The key is to create balance between negativity and positivity. The key is to master the negativity and don't allow it. Okay? Don't allow the negativity to be in charge of your thoughts. That is the key. Because your higher self will not exist in this realm without your lower self. That is impossible. Because the only way for us to experience everything in this physical world, we have to be able to manifest it through our lower selves. You see, the higher self cannot manifest anything that's evil. The higher self cannot manifest anything that's negative. It cannot. It could experience it, but it is not responsible for manifesting it. It is the creation of itself in its lower self is responsible for creating those low vibrational activities. It is the lower self, the carnal self. But the key is not to dwell in the lower self. Yes, you could experience it because it's there. But the key is not to allow it to control the higher self. In other words, don't allow the higher self to become a slave of the lower self. It has to be the reverse. Allow the lower self to be the slave of the higher self. And that is what they speak of in their books. You see, the stories in the book, even if it's allegory, it is all symbolic. Slaves, obey your earthly masters as you would your God in heaven. And they got people going around thinking that they are slaves and it's okay to be slaves. That is not the proper or the context of what the writer was trying to convey. Everything is based on perception. You have to go in the mind of the writer. Go back in the day and age and time of the writer to get a true understanding, overstanding, and understanding of what the words are. So, slave, obey your earthly masters as you would your God in heaven. What does that mean? Is God telling me it's okay to be a slave? Yes and no. It doesn't mean that literally, like a man or a woman is supposed to be a slave. That's not what it means. But yes, in the context of slave, obey your earthly masters. The slave is the lower self. The earthly master is the higher self in this realm. So that lower self, which is the slave, is supposed to obey the earthly master, which is the higher self, as it would the God in heaven, which is the higher self. That is the explanation in what, or the context in what that was written. So again, when you speak, okay, you speak life and death, duality, the higher self and the lower self. Is those two voices in you. It's always those two voices. And I think I have told y'all before about the Indian proverb when the grandfather went out with the grandson and they went out into the wilderness, and the grandfather was telling the grandson about the two wolves. We all have two wolves that dwells inside of us. We have the good wolf and we have the bad wolf. And the grandfather said, grandson, those two wolves are always at war. They are always at odds with each other. They are always fighting each other. And one of them will win. And the son looked up, in a state of confusion, puzzled. Well, grandfather, if there's two wolves inside of me, if one is good and one is bad, and one of them has to win, which one is going to win? The grandfather looked out into the wilderness, looked out into the beyond the trees, and then he looked back at his grandson with concern in his eyes. And he said, son, the wolf that's going to win is the one that you feed the most. And isn't that the story of each and every one of us? Every impulse that we get, the ones that we react to, whether it may be negative or positive, the good wolf or the bad wolf, the God or the devil, whether it may be Cain or Abel, Jacob or Esau, Adam or Eve, all those are symbolic for those two wolves that's inside of you. It is the same story that's being told over and over and over and over and over again. Duality. We cannot escape it in this realm. However, we have free will. We have free will to choose between the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. not even knowing that one of the choices as well was not to choose. That's why there's always three sides to a story. There is three sides to a coin. You have the head, you have the tail. And when you put that coin to stand up on in the middle, that's also another side of the coin. You also have the choice not to choose. So, when we are caught up in decisions, we could go three ways. We could either be positive about it, or we could be negative about it. And if we are not sure, if we want to be on the safe side, we could be neutral. And those are the only three choices that we ever have. We cannot escape that in this three-dimensional world. So when you go to the extreme to be negative, to speak the words of death, that means your intentions have to be really, think about it. If you have two other choices to make, good or be neutral, and you ignore those two choices, and you would rather be negative or bring death, that means there is something wrong with you. And you have to take responsibility for your own actions. We have to be very mindful of what we put out there in the universe, because what the universe gives us is exactly what we ask for. You see, when we created the universe, yes, we created the universe. We created a perfect system. We created a system that gives us everything that we want and need, as long as we ask for it. And it's going to give it to us. But that's a great thing, and that could be very detrimental, because if we don't know how to ask specifically for what we want, the universe will give us what it think we want, because the universe don't know when we are making a joke. The universe don't know when, take for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. If you tell the universe, I want a husband, I want a wife, the universe will give you a husband or a wife. But that husband or a wife may come with a lot of problems, because you know what? You were not specific enough. You may ask the universe for a car. The universe will give you a car, but you may get a car without windows, without brakes, with only 3 tires. So, my friends, be very specific with your thoughts and your words and your affirmations. Be specific. Yes, I want a soulmate. In my case, okay, I want her to be this. I want her to be that. I want her to be this. I want her to be that. Be specific. Get in detail. Get a pen. Compose. Write it down. And then let it out into the universe. That perfect picture painting. Never allow your wants and your needs to be incomplete and think the universe is going to give it to you complete. No, you will get exactly what you ask for. So therefore, if your wants and your needs are not complete, are not thorough, the universe will give you things that are not complete and are not thorough. It is your fault. We are a reflection of everything that we manifest. But a lot of us don't like taking responsibility. We always want to cast the blame. We always want to look at other people. You are the problem, not me. I'm good. We all have to step up and take responsibility. We are all living in a paradigm where we are stepping back into perfection. You see me? I don't say I'm not perfect. I don't say that because I don't want to manifest that and put that into the universe. However, I will say I am stepping back into my perfection. That's why I always ask the universe for the perfect people to create the perfect circumstances to yield the perfect results in this movement of restoring the ways and culture and mannerisms of our ancestors. Because if I just ask the universe for people, oh, the universe is going to give me people, but they may not be the people that's needed to make this thing successful. So, in summary, it is up to you. Slaves, obey your earthly masters as you would your God in heaven. The lower self is the slave. The higher self is the God in heaven. Never allow your lower self to be the master of your higher self. Remember, they are always at odds with each other. Self-mastery is to find that balance, because you don't want to suppress your lower self. You have to give it a chance to express itself, because that's what it came here for. Okay? To experience, to be. So the key is, in essence, again, yes, you could master it, but master it in a sense where you're not a cruel master. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay? Master it in a sense where you allow it to be what it came here to be. Don't suppress it. All right? Because now you are literally taking away its free will. So the key, that's not the key. The key is to allow it to be, but don't allow it to be you. That is the key. So with that being said, let us be careful of our thoughts. Let us be very mindful of how we speak to people. Let us be very mindful of how we ask the universe for things. Because we created that perfect system, like I said. A perfect system to get everything we want and need. All we have to do is ask, and we will get it. We did that. You see, there is no sky daddy looking down and judging you. No. You judge yourself. That's the perfect system. It is the perfect system, because now it puts the responsibility on you. If I don't do the right thing, if I am not righteous, then I will pay the consequences. Not because there is a sky daddy to punish me. Not because there is a man with a red suit in a pitchfork in a lake of fire waiting to burn me up. No, I am responsible for that, because I am God and I am the devil. The question is, which one do I want to manifest in my life? Do I want to speak God? In other words, do I want to evoke life? Or do I want to be the devil and evoke death? Do I want to speak it? Because it is all energy. So for me, I take control of my actions, my thoughts. And I practice every day. They say practice make perfect. That is true to a certain extent. But I'm even going to take it further. Instead of saying practice make perfect, how about practice perfect? Because some people could practice imperfectly. It's all about stepping back into perfection. So perfect practice create perfect results. I guarantee you, you will get better results than just practicing and believing that because you practice, you're going to be perfect. No, sometimes you could practice imperfectly. Hence, you will get results that's not perfect. But let's learn to practice perfectly for a change. Take our time, focus. Let's not rush things. We always looking for instant gratification. And that's where the physical self comes in. The carnal self comes in. Oh, I want it all. Give me the world, but I'm going to lose my soul. Give me the world, but I'm going to lose my higher self in the midst of it all. I am just going to be a winner temporarily. Instant gratification. So here we are, seeking that temporary instant gratification while the higher self is being suffocated. And that's why they say, you know, God is a jealous God, right? You ever ask yourself, how could God be a jealous God? Well, it's the higher self. When you ignore the higher self, it gets jealous. So family, I'm going to close tonight and say that I hope I gave you enough so that you could think of, enough so that you could go within. Take your time. Go into a quiet place. Turn the televisions off. You see, they give us all these distractions so we cannot go within. They want us to always be looking outside of us. Go down on your knees and look up into the heavens. Go outside of yourself, looking for everything when it's literally within. Turn the noise off, because that dwelling that's inside of you, those two wolves, the good and the bad, the God and the devil that's inside of you, you have to go in with a moment of stillness so you could hear their voice. I love you guys. Take care. Peace and love. Chief Kalinago.